Hey everybody, and welcome to another Cricut Craft tutorial. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and hit that bell icon because that will alert you to when I post a new video. Today's video I'm going to show you guys a great way to apply large vinyl decals, and it's called the hinge method, and you only need a couple of things to do this. You'll need some painter's tape, some transfer tape. I always recommend medium tack from 651 Vinyl. I love this stuff. It's the best. I have a weeding ring for all of the little pieces and parts from my decal. You're going to need a pair of scissors. I use my pin pen to weed my vinyl. You will need a squeegee and, of course, some vinyl. So I was not able to show you guys this on the computer because I was having a lot of design space issues the day that I tried to record this. So you guys get the general gist of how to use design space as far as like this video, and if not, I've got lots of great beginner videos. But this design that I chose was just one off of Design Space, and I'm trying to make sure it's straight for you guys because I can't totally tell. There we go. And I just added the paw prints. I took off part of it and just put paw prints on it instead of the little swirls that they had. So I know this is getting a lot of reflection. Ooh, it's pretty. So I did this with the hinge method, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So let's go over to the workspace, and I will show you guys how we do the hinge method. Before we put our decal onto our wood round, we need to apply transfer tape. So this is just a medium tack from 651 Vinyl. And all we're going to do, I'm going to show you guys, there's a trick to doing some of these bigger ones. And it's pretty easy once you do it once. Let me get this transfer tape all pulled off. I wanted to make sure to show you guys how to do this. So I have like kind of a weird edge to mine because I will usually take my transfer tape and cut just little spots of what I need and then roll it back up. But when I have a big decal like this, we're going to unroll a whole bunch of the transfer tape. Now this guy is 11.5 by about 13.5, so it was pretty big. So what I do is I kind of find where the top of the sheet is of the transfer tape, and all I'm going to do is just lay this flat on the transfer tape upside down. And then all I do now is I'm just going to trim it off. And you don't have to like be exact. You can just kind of guesstimate. And then all this stuff at the top, I can always save it for later or just throw it away. But I'll usually save it because when you have little decals and stuff, these little spots are great. So I just kind of roll it up and put it right back on my roll because you can totally reuse it. So it's really nice. So we're going to go ahead and do that really quick. And now what I'm going to do is flip this over, and I'm going to take my squeegee, and I'm just going to squeegee along all of my design here. And basically that's just making sure that everything's going to stick to our transfer tape. Now normally what I would tell you guys to do is to turn this over and to remove your transfer tape from your backing. But because we're going to do the hinge method, we're going to do this a little bit different. So here's our wood round. And we are going to need to line this up really well because where we put the holes, it's going to have to kind of go right within our decal because this is really large. But I wanted this to take up a ton of space, and I wanted it to look really, really nice and big on our wood round because this is going to go on a front door. So once you have this where you want it, which I think that's pretty good, I just kind of eyeball my stuff. I don't really go too in-depth. I can always even it out if I wanted to add some more paw prints. But this is where your painter's tape comes in. You're going to take a nice long piece of painter's tape, and you are going to put it right across the middle-ish. It doesn't have to be exact middle, but the middle of your decal. And if you want a little bit wider piece, because sometimes I like to do this with a bit of a wider spot, I will actually do 2 pieces of the painter's tape just to give me a little bit wider of a spot. So I'm going to turn this sideways to this way because I need to be able to move some stuff. But usually it's easy if you have the hinge part, which is this, going this direction. But it's all personal preference. But that's why they call this a hinge, because look, now you can pick it up and it's like on a door. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your decal and you're going to peel it up off of your backing, and you're only going to do half. And you're going to do this part pretty slow just because, again, you just want to make sure everything is sticking to your transfer tape. And that looks pretty good. So what we'll do is I will sometimes take my squeegee and just use it as a little holder. It just puts a little bit of weight onto the decal. And what you'll do now is cut your backing just from this part. Now you want to be careful because you don't want to scrape your stained wood. But you're just going to take this and go just along the edge. And then you're going to carefully fold this part of your decal right back over. And you want to do it nice and slow. You want to keep it nice and straight. But the nice thing is that that transfer tape and the painter's tape is holding this nice and even and straight. Now just leave this where it is. So now what we're going to do is take off our painter's tape. And you're going to want to do this pretty slowly, just so that you don't like do that where it lifts off your transfer tape. But you want to just peel this off. And again, you're going to do this kind of like how you do transfer tape. You're just going to fold it over itself and just gently kind of roll it off. And again, that's so it doesn't peel off any of your transfer tape. So now what you do is you can take this side of your decal, fold it over, and then what I'm going to do is just gently remove part of this just to make sure everything's sticking. I did have some cut setting issues a little bit earlier today, so I just like to make sure that everything's sticking. So as I do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. We're going to do this nice and gentle, and we're just going to roll off our transfer tape from our backing. So you're going to just go really slow, and you just can make sure that everything is, in fact, staying on. And like I said, you can see how close mine came to the edge of my round, but that's totally okay. That's how I wanted it. I wanted it really, really big. So now what you're going to do is burnish it, which you're just going to take your squeegee and you're just going to press it down. And you want to make sure that you get all the little spots. Make sure you get that dot in the eye. Sorry, I know I'm probably shaking. You're shaking the camera right now a little bit, but you're just going to press it all down. And then you're just going to slowly peel up your transfer tape, just like you would when you do any kind of project. And if you find a little spot like right here that doesn't want to stick, you can just take that and go there. Now we did stain this board. I didn't show you guys that just because I wanted to show you just the hinge method today. But we did just stain the board with some Minwax stain. We did cover it with a thin layer of polyacrylic, which is a water-based sealant. Remember when doing these signs that you only seal the wood, you don't seal the vinyl. So that's something to keep in mind when you are making stuff like this, is to only seal the wood. Now this part will take a little bit of time just because I want to make sure to go super slow and to make sure that everything sticks. And with wood, it is a little bit of a process just to make sure, A, that you're not ripping up any of your wood, which this one, because it's sealed, it shouldn't pull up anything. But I do just like to be a little more careful when doing this, especially because this does have some small lines in some spots. So now that we've got the paw prints part off, we can just keep going up. And again, as you see, I have it folded over really tight right on itself, making like a nice sharp fold. And then I just roll it off. And like I'll get it to a point where my thumbs can't reach anymore. And then I'll move my thumbs back down. And then I'll just keep pulling. Now if your transfer tape gets too long and starts to get stuck on itself or stuck on something else, you can obviously trim that off, which I think I will go ahead and do. So it's getting a little bit long, so I will usually trim it off. A lot of times with these larger pieces, I don't like to save them just because, especially if they've been on wood, I don't find they stick quite as well the second time. But I've got so much transfer tape that it is not necessary. Oh, see, so we're losing a little toe right here. So what I'm going to do is press that back down, see if I can make the stick with just my finger. And if I can't, I'm going to go ahead and take my squeegee to it. And we'll just make sure he's well pressed. A lot of times that stuff is just because I've missed the spot when I was squeegeeing. But that's why you go really, really slow with this. And you just make sure that all your pieces parts are going to stick down. Don't want to lose a toe. Nobody wants to lose a paw print toe. Now this design is just from Design Space. I just sized it to my project, which like I said is an 11.5 by about 13.5 because I wanted it to be really big. I got my wood round at Home Depot. The vinyl is a glossy black Oracal 651 from 651vinyl.com. I did get the giant, like, I have the huge 10-yard roll. I've used a lot of it, but I love the 10-yard roll because you just always have a ton of it rather than getting like a 5-foot roll, because black is probably one of my most popular colors that I use. Black and white. I honestly think most people, that's their most popular. But I love that I can get a big roll of that. So we're going to go ahead and get this finished because this guy doesn't stick. And like right now I should probably trim it, but I'm so close to the end that I'm just going to let it go. And then we'll just peel up. Now we'll put some rope up here to hold our sign onto our door, because this is going to go on our front door. This is great for people who maybe have a storm door or a screen door, depending on what you call it, where you're from, and their door sits really close to their other door and they can't fit like a traditional wreath. We cannot fit traditional wreaths, so this is a great alternative for us where we can still have a cute sign while still being able to close our door. So this was the hinge method, super easy to do. You can see how nice and straight and easy it was. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. Hit that bell icon, that will let you know when I post a new video. I hope you guys had a really fun time checking out the hinge method. Have a great day and happy crafting!